lights off, you turn the camera off, and I'll be naked when you come back.
Ladies and gentlemen and listeners all around the world, welcome to the one, the only People's Pipe Bomb.
Never had this show before?
I haven't.
Oh my gosh, yo, I like grew up on this team. I love this team. Yeah. Yeah, get a little bit of sweet in it. Yeah, this is
Tea time with the bro.
What's up?
This is tea time for fellas.
Yeah, just a spot or two. Yeah.
I haven't looked at the outline yet. I'm gonna look at it right now.
Are you gonna look at the outline right now while we sip our tea?
Yeah.
So what's the tea this week?
Perfect peach.
Perfect peach tea.
We're all having a little
Did you send it to me,
a little bit of tea in the studio.
You sent it
this
on,
week.
what did you say you sent it to Rod on? Google something or something?
Google? It should be on
Right
your
email?
share drive.
Share drive, that's what it was.
I have a share drive?
Allegedly.
That thing?
Yeah,
that one. I do
The-
have that.
The
Yeah,
one with the
that's
little
the
triangle. Yeah, we're all good. Let me make sure.
Yeah, we're starting out with NWA, right?
Well, first of all, I gotta get through the intro.
Have y'all heard it? Have y'all heard it out of Jim Cornett?
I heard it out of his mouth.
have.
Yeah, did
I
you?
have.
Did it sound that bad?
It did when I heard it. It sounded worse when I
It's-
heard it, honestly. It did.
It didn't bother me, but I get it though. Like,
It's just like, why? Like, just why?
I mean, he only referred a white man in Ethiopia. Like, he didn't really say anything bad. Why does chicken really have to refer to black people?
Because there's so many other white people in Ethiopia.
True, but he was only referring to chicken and a fat white man. So fat country white man on top of that.
And so that was initially the way I was like viewing it, but then I was like, even if it's not a racial thing, it's just kind of like a fucked up third world thing to say as well.
He a shooter though. Like he
I know, and so that was kind of the way I was viewing it. Was like,
he knows
you know,
wrestling.
It's fucking
It's
Jim
Cornett.
Cornette. Like he just kind of shoots at the hip. He's like a fucking cowboy. Like he's a maverick, if you will. We got a fucking
And welcome to
president.
People's Pipe Bomb Podcast, a wrestling podcast where we lobby for the jobbers, advertise for the body guys, and amuse the marks while we recap and react to the world of wrestling. I'm joined by my co-host, as usual, my man, the doctor of wrestling psychology, Dr. Grayson Board. How you doing?
Let me be honest with you, Cool Keith.
Yeah,
I'm doing really well today.
I'm glad to hear
I
it.
didn't have to work today.
Yeah.
I'm got to work on music. I'm drinking some perfect peach tea right now.
Oh yeah,
right
we're all
now.
sipping on a little bit of tea, feeling good. Hot tea was the thing in the stew this evening.
Oh man, it's
And
great.
then, sipping on his own batch of perfect peach, we got my man over to the right. We got two T's,
2 D's.
2 D's. Freeze! Somebody bring him back the money, please. Fat Rod, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, thank you, Cool Keith, with the coldest intros. These are all off the top, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't write this down for me. This is from the heart, and I appreciate it kindly.
You're welcome.
And it's perfect peach. Oh my goodness, my soul has been relifted. Guys, we have cards.
We've got cards.
We got cards.
Yeah, we got to plug some shit now. So, of course, as you already know, you can contact us at our Gmail, peoplespipebombpod@gmail.com. And to keep it easy for you, if you're trying to check us out on SoundCloud, as you know, it's /peoplespipebombpod. And now we have a Twitter and an Instagram page at peoplespipebombpod. So it's all the same damn thing. If you know one, you know them all.
Got an Instagram?
Yeah, we got Instagram. We
we're
got...
gonna go
we got it all because you demanded it. The people demanded it, and we give it.
We're going to be backlogging episodes on YouTube. So go to our YouTube channel. And as Rod was just saying, we have business cards now. So if you see me on the street, you know I'm going to throw one at you, Chinese star style, hitting the forehead.
Chinese star style.
Oh, that sounds wrong, right? I'm on some Jim Cornette shit right here.
Oh shit! Chinese star style.
All
I
right.
don't even-
Well, we got...
Let's just get right into it.
Gentlemen, should we do a WrestleMedia first? I know we're chomping at the bit to get into NWA.
I say let's just get right into it. I don't really have WrestleMedia this week. I'm just hyped for Survivor Series, though I'm going to be working from 12 to 10. I'll be free for the main event.
So that means if anybody wants to watch Survivor or not Survivor. Is that we're talking about Survivor Series?
Yeah, Survivor Series this Sunday.
If anybody wants to watch Survivor Series, the Fat Rod.
You're going to be...
I'm going to be working. I'm not going to.
Oh, really? Damn. All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, unless I got a date this week, guys. So,
Ooh.
Sorry, that was public information. Did I just say that? I did say that. I got a date on Saturday night, so I definitely got to work on Sunday. I would have took Sunday off. So.
No, I thought maybe people would have been able to go to your place of employment and
next
watch it with you.
And next week, I got a date with a turkey, baby. The holiday season is upon us, gentlemen. What do you guys got? Any special plans for Thanksgiving? Any traditions that you're going to continue, or some shit like that?
My cousin told me that I'm demanded to be at her grandmother's house, so I'll be at Grayson's grandmother's house.
Damn it!
Yeah, it's funny. I usually, for the past maybe 10 years or so, I don't do anything for Thanksgiving. I don't really celebrate. I usually sit at home. Maybe I'll make something like a dope dish or two for myself and whoever I'm around, or whatever. Maybe somebody I'm dating, but like. Yeah, I'll usually just sit at home, enjoy my day off.
He's not lying. Grayson's never there.
I'm never anywhere. Yeah, no, I'm usually when I have time to be off, I like to be alone.
No, that is facts.
Yeah. Watch my football, get to chill out. Yeah, but I will be out and about.
Nice.
With Fat Rod.
I'm gonna be hosting Thanksgiving dinner at my place for the first time ever.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That is big.
I'm on some big boy shit right now.
Yeah, you got a new crib.
We got a 25-pound turkey. I named him Clarence.
Ooh.
He's dead.
Yeah, he's been dead.
He's
but
dead meat.
He's gonna be extra dead come Thursday. We're gonna have mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, rutabaga, mac and cheese, pumpkin pie, apple pie.
You name it.
Also, I'm excited. I love Thanksgiving, but I hate traveling. So having everybody come to me is going to be easy. And I know cooking a big-ass meal like that sounds like a pain in the ass for most people, but I like cooking. So I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. And also, it gives me an excuse. Like, I don't have a dishwasher. So a couple hours, I'm just going to be washing dishes. I get to not hang out with people and just be myself and not have to make small talk and shit that I don't want to do. So shout out to my in-laws. I love you.
Yeah, cool. Keep the surgical in the kitchen.
All right, so let's get right down to it. We're going to have a new segment for you all called What's Happening on the Indies, where we recap things that happen in the independent scene as well as some of the smaller but no less excellent promotions such as NWA, ROH, and at some point I think New Japan will probably get its own segment, but right now we're going to lump it in here, so... Let's throw it on over to what's happening on the indies.
What's happening on the indies? Hey, you know my man who's on the undercard. What's happening on the indies? Hey, yo, my dude who's on the undercard. You know they work so hard. You know they work so hard. Hey, yo, my dude's in the fucking man.
All right, so first up, what we were talking about in the intro a little bit, the most controversial shit on the wrestling internet this past week. NWA, if you're familiar with the National Wrestling Alliance, new version of the oldest promotion in America, essentially, run by Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan. And yes, if you're not familiar with this shit, I'm not making that up. That's who's in charge of this company. They got a YouTube show called NWA Power. And Jim Cornett, famous wrestling commentator, manager, heel dickhead, just resigned recently for some comments he made on the most recent episode. They pulled the episode the night that it was released because of complaints and have re-uploaded it without said comments that were deemed to be racist and or offensive. So he resigned, I think, the next day, gentlemen. Was that correct?
Yeah, I think it was the day after it released.
Yeah, because I immediately that morning I
probably
started
months
blowing
after
up.
it was said.
I was blowing up the group chat that morning, trying to be like, "Yo, what do you guys think of that? What's going on with all this whole situation?" So, what are your thoughts on the situation?
Well, let's just say this for one. Jim Cornette did what he had to do for NWA Power, at least by getting it notarized, because that is the only reason I tuned in, because I heard he was commentating. So, I want to give a shout out to Jim Cornette before I speak on that. Two, I guess, man, internet's so sensitive. If you take his age and where he from in the world, like, it's been a lot worser things said. He was trying to make a fat joke and drag it out, and it just went left. Like,
should we say what he said? Should we?
I mean, if you want, I don't have the actual quote, but I mean,
I'm gonna paraphrase, and this is gonna, not sound good. So I apologize if anybody doesn't like the way this sounds. But he said something to the effect, he was talking about two wrestlers in the ring. It was, I believe, Nick Aldis, and he was talking about Murdoch, and he said something to the effect of, he's so tough that he could ride a motorcycle across Ethiopia with a bucket of fried chicken strapped to him.
And get out unscathed or something like that. And I think he's so tough. I think he said, like, he's the only man who could. Yeah.
Well, that actually is the only funny part of that.
I think that's what he said. It was like, he's the only man who could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was offensive. I thought, to me, it read as offensive and racist, and like something that, it's 2019. You got a show that's, I know it's on YouTube, but you have a public pro wrestling show. It's not the kind of shit you should be putting on air. You should know better.
Here's my problem with it.
Yeah.
Who edits that shit?
Well,
because that needs to be the first person going. Somebody in the back in Gorilla should have said, "What the fuck?" But that wasn't what it was. Because like I said, it was Cornette probably just talking and trying to make a joke that dragged out the wrong way.
Okay.
So...
also, apparently, Cornette had used this line in the past, like sometime in like the early or mid 90s. He had
a
said
time when it was known for its racial sensitivities.
Well, sure, but I'm saying apparently he has used this line in the past. So he's harkening back to one of his old, catchphrases or whatever. I'm sure this leads me to believe this is probably a thing that he says fairly regularly, considering he said it back in the 90s and he's saying it again now.
Damn.
This was probably recorded weeks or months ago. So as Fat Rod is getting at, nobody caught on.
Who's watching it? I mean, I know everybody isn't watching it, but
that might be the problem. That maybe the person that's supposed to be watching and editing is not doing their job.
Jim Cornette, he's probably supposed to be the heel commentator anyway, so he needs the heat regardless. He's an active member of the wrestling media. On the internet. So he's going to defend himself, and I'll wait to give my opinion when I hear him. I'm not looking for an apology. I hope nobody's looking for an apology. It wasn't like he was really trying to say anything. He just was trying to be funny, and it wasn't funny, to be honest. When I hear his apology or when I hear him speak on it, I think I'll have more of an opinion on how I feel about it. But just Cornette being a dick. What else is new? That's how I feel about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean...
I'm not on no cancel Jim Cornette shit. Like, I don't feel that way.
Well, I think it's more complicated than canceling Jim Cornette or something like that. Like, for those of you who haven't tuned in to NWA Power, it is a studio show, like the way they used to shoot wrestling back in the 80s. The principal idea being, it's like a sound stage that has a wrestling ring, a small audience,
WCW Saturday night.
WCW Saturday night. It's shot and recorded ahead of time and then edited, like Grayson was saying. In a world where most wrestling TV these days is live programming, this is not how this is done. Clearly, no one paid attention and caught that and were, in derelict of their duties as an editor, or they heard it and they didn't think anything of it, and that's problematic as well. Taking it off of the YouTube channel and editing it down, I think, was entirely the correct call. Jim Cornette is the only person that the average person can hold accountable for this, because we don't know who the fuck is editing the show and all this other shit. So Jim Cornette said something he shouldn't have said. Bottom line, he was probably forced to resign for it. I highly doubt that he immediately offered that. I bet they were like, hey, let's not make a scene. We got to get you out of here. Because bottom line, it's a bad look for NWA, no matter how you slice it.
I don't think Jim Cornette feels like it hurts his brand at all. And honestly, I don't think it really hurts Jim Cornette's brand at all.
Does this hurt Cornette or NWA?
No. I think it's not the worst thing ever done in wrestling. It's not even close to the worst thing ever done in wrestling. It's just... That's true. It's just fresh. It scratched the surface.
Yeah.
I don't want to call him a racist. I don't know him to be calling him a racist. Like, that's not the persona I get from him.
I would not say that he's a racist, but I would say that what he said in that comment is racist language. So he said something that is racist.
But depending on your age and where you're from,
can't have that on
but
the show.
It should have never made air. It should have got cut and, reprimanded off air, if anything. It's not a live show. So that's where I'm not, really mad at him, because y'all know who y'all hired. Like, if you hired me to do that, I might mess around and say some shit like that accidentally, just trying to draw a conversation on air, like, or trying to make a reference or something.
I will say that as editor of this podcast, I have edited a couple of things that Rod said. So you're right. People got to pay attention to shit.
Know who you dealing with. Like I said, it wasn't the worst. It wasn't like he was saying, N-word, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not what he did. He was trying to dance around a touchy topic and still make a joke about it, and it didn't hit.
Unless you're like a kind of hardcore wrestling fan, you're probably not watching NWA Power anyway, I'll be honest. And if you're like a hardcore wrestling fan, you probably know Jim Cornette. You probably know what Jim Cornette's known for, and you probably will have heard this story, know why he's not going to be around, I guess, whenever they start taping again, I guess after their next pay-per-view. So I don't think it's really going to hurt either brand particularly.
It's interesting, though, because I feel like this is just one of the stories on the wrestling internet this week. Like, we had the spat between Randy Orton and Tony Khan, where Tony Khan called him out for saying the N-word on, like, a Twitch stream at some point. What else happened? We had one of my things that I thought was interesting on the wrestling media. Kia Stevens, Awesome Kong, did an interview with Chris Jericho on Talk is Jericho. She talked about being a black woman wrestling in Japan, going through the dojo system, and being named Awesome Kong and the connotations behind that.
ACH.
ACH.
Now, that was some racist shit.
Yeah, it was.
That was some racist. I mean, I felt his anger.
Explain
I felt
it
his
a little
rage.
bit, if you don't mind.
Pretty much, they just did like a mock of his bright white smile, and put it on a black T-shirt with some blackface lips.
That's about as racist as it gets.
So
I'm
it's
offended by it. People are entitled to be offended by that shit.
Yeah, I mean, but a lot of people, when they see it, they don't even know what it really is. Like, they really just think it's a clown face, but to get the history behind it and realize what it really is, that's when, your feelings and you start to become, you feel insulted.
Yeah.
As a person. But
it's some really charged material. When people play around with race in America, it's some heavy shit. In this situation with Jim Cornette and the NWA, I think that the right thing happened. I think Jim Cornette in this situation had to resign because otherwise it sets a bad precedent for people in 2019 and beyond being able to say offensive, racially charged stuff on wrestling shows, which I don't think there's any place. It doesn't belong there. And I think it's good to be able to make that and set that example early.
Agreed.
So to discuss Ring of Honor now, we have the big news surrounding Marty Scurll. His contract is up. We were talking about it last pod a little bit at the end of the show. Now we know that his contract is up on November 30th at the end of this month. And where will he go? Sort of the talk of the wrestling world. A lot of people, have speculated that he'll go to AEW. But I've heard some people say, maybe he'll go to WWE. He would fit into NXT really well. Maybe he'll go crazy and go to New Japan because he could have some really great matches over there. He's not booked for a match at Final Battle, which makes me believe that he's probably not going to continue in Ring of Honor. What do you guys think of all this? Is it a foregone conclusion that he's leaving?
He is leaving.
Right. I was going to say.
As of Sunday, I'll know where he'll be at. If he is not, I would say Saturday night, if he is not the fourth man for Tommaso Ciampa at the takeover that's coming up in War Games, then he's definitely going to AEW. But the door's still open.
That'd be interesting. And then
Tommaso and the villain.
And then we could have the
Pete Dunne and
Marty Scurll and Pete Dunne breaking each other's fingers.
Listen,
I mean, he would have a great run in NXT, but only if they kept him on NXT. If they brought him to Raw or SmackDown, I think they would find a way to fuck him up.
He would be Sami Zayn if he were to go to the main roster.
He'll be another one of the guys on the AEW roster, but I think he would be a superstar in NXT because, in NXT or WWE, because he comes with his own brand. He comes with merch. Like, you don't even have to think of a merch plan for this guy. Let's up this villain shit real quick, and
That's
cash
true.
out. But everybody want the bad guy shirt, Scarface, Hell's Angels, anything that's decent, that's bad. People down for it, especially a shirt that says Villain Club. That's the best Bullet Club shirt ever.
Yeah, so Marty Scurll, for those of you who may not be aware, he is a British wrestler who was part of the Bullet Club, and he was part of the Elite. He was on the early episodes of Being the Elite, and then the rest of the Elite left to make AEW, and he was left in Ring of Honor because of some contract stuff. He's great. He comes out dressed as like a plague doctor and like does the chicken wing as like a finisher and breaks people's finishers.
Chicken wing.
It's amazing. He's great. He comes out and people are like, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, he's like a very like British style
Whoop, whoop.
technical wrestler. He's
Whoop,
like
whoop.
William Regal like.
Whoop, whoop.
He's over.
I think he's going to end up on AEW. I feel like pretty soon you'll be able to check him out there.
All right, well, let me jump in here real quick, actually, because I guess this was kind of going to be my WrestleMedia, but at Ringside News, November 20th, posted on Pro Wrestling Tees, they released a piece of Marty Scurll AEW merch for like a hot second and then took it down. Ooh. So that feels like that might be... They might be showing their hand by accident a little bit there.
I mean,
Breaking news, John.
I don't expect him to not go to AEW. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, before he get there,
I mean,
he could do a little 6 months at NXT real quick.
See-
I could knock that money off real quick.
him at NXT wouldn't be bad, and I would personally, I would love to see him in New Japan.
And what else we got? Other important thing to note about New Japan. Right now we're recording this. It's, almost Thanksgiving. We're at November 21st. And I just want everybody to know that come January, you should, if you have $10 in your fucking pocket and you're like, I don't know what to do with this, get a subscription to New Japan World. Watch Wrestle Kingdom 14. You won't be disappointed. It's the best show every fucking year. I can't put it over enough. I love New Japan. It's going to be 2 nights this year. Jushin Thunder Liger's last match ever. Retirement match is happening. Kota Ibushi and Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. It's going to be an amazing show. Highly recommend watching it. And if that doesn't sell you enough on New Japan, Grayson can tell you, he looked online earlier today, their Christmas cakes are now available.
Boom. Boom, boom, boom. Cat. Yeah, they got the
How
the
many
cakes.
yen?
They got Tai Chi. They have a Tai Chi cake, which Tai Chi is one of my favorites, so I'm all about this Tai Chi cake. It looks dope as shit. Apparently, they're only delivering these cakes to Japan.
Fuck that.
Luckily,
Well, it's got like eggs and shit in it.
luckily my partner's father lives in Japan, so we're trying to maybe get one sent to him.
Nice.
So that we can somehow get this New Japan Tai Chi cake.
Do the old switcheroo.
Yeah. So I'll
Yeah,
keep you guys
I'll-
posted on
Let me know how that-
this Tai Chi cake.
Let me know how that food poisoning goes when you get like a 3-month-old cake from Japan.
Honestly, my thought is that I'm gonna take it and freeze it, and if we ever get married, we're gonna use that as the wedding cake.
Oh.
Yeah. But shh, don't tell.
Yeah, we won't publish that.
Yeah.
On our podcast that you're speaking into the mic for. Anyway, next up we're going to talk about Full Gear. We did our predictions last time and then we went and watched the show. It aired on November 9th from Baltimore, Maryland. AEW Full Gear, the first pay-per-view they had after a month of being on television with AEW Dynamite. So let's run down the results real quick. We got Britt Baker defeating B. Priestley on the pre-show by submission. Proud and Powerful defeat the Young Bucks via pinfall. Hangman Page going over Pac via pinfall. Shawn Spears defeats Joey Janela after some tricky heel shit with Tully Blanchard, followed by a pin. SCU retains the AEW Tag Championship belt against the Lucha Bros and Private Party. Rio retains the AEW Women's belt against Emi Sakura. We got Jericho and Cody competing, and Jericho retains the AEW Championship when MJF threw in the fucking towel on his homie.
So my first thing is, why did MJF not throw in the scarf?
Ooh!
Why didn't he throw in the scarf instead of the towel?
God damn.
That would have been so great.
Just
and then,
part of the reasons.
finally, Jon Moxley defeated Kenny Omega by pinfall in a non-sanctioned quote-unquote lights out match, which was somewhat violent to my taste. Some people, you know what I mean? It's like when you're cooking with spice, you know what I'm saying? Some people can only handle a 2. But you want to have like a 7. Some people are like, oh, it's too spicy. I'm like, nah, I want it spicy enough where I can still taste it. Like, you know, the other flavors. But I want it to be hot, you know what I mean? I don't want it to be so spicy that I can't taste nothing but the chili.
Nah, but you want to be able to know that it's spicy too.
I want a little spice.
Some mofos, you put a little bit of black pepper and they're like, oh, it's too spicy. I'm like, it's just a dash of black pepper.
Dave Meltzer.
Ooh.
Calling shit. Anyway, so predictions. We made predictions last time. Grayson went 3 for 8.
Yeah, honestly,
tough luck.
It's not my fault. It's their fault.
You got 3 for 8?
Yeah, I went 3 for 8. They didn't do a good job on this show. With
Rod,
as far as I'm concerned.
Rod got half of them right. He went 4 for 8.
Wow. Yeah.
And Cole Keith, myself, I got 5 out of 8. So just a little bit more. We went 3, 4, 5, but I won the prediction. So I win our first ever inaugural promo in the bank.
PROMOINTHEBANK. Promo in the bank, you are the best at predicting shit, so tell them kiss my ass. Hey.
So, this is a new segment that we do called Promo in the Bank. Basically, every time we do predictions for a pay-per-view, the person who gets the most predictions correct gets to have a promo in the bank on the next show where they can just launch into talking shit about whatever topic they want at any given time. So watch out, because I'm going to cash this shit in at some point.
So
when you least expect it.
So I'm curious, does it have to be the next episode? Could you hold on to your promo in the bank?
I think that promo in the bank needs to be redecided. It's not our fault that AEW couldn't book their fucking card.
I mean, I guess I seem to got most of them right.
I got gripes with that Full Gear pay-per-view. That it's just like
I seem to get most of them right.
I'm gonna let them live.
Anyway, so we're gonna talk about Full Gear a little bit. What was your impression of the pay-per-view overall?
For me, this was maybe my least favorite AEW pay-per-view. At least definitely of the big ones.
Let it out.
And I don't really know what it is. I think maybe part of it's just because the TV show was happening. And they have a lack of talent, and as a result, we've kind of seen some of these matchups already, and like we've seen a lot of these people wrestle a bunch. I don't know. I found myself to be a little bit bored throughout a lot of it, despite the fact that it was pretty good wrestling.
Hey, bored, you are bored.
Yeah, despite the fact that I thought the wrestling was good. I thought it was like a good wrestling show for the most part. I just think
it was Dynamite.
Yeah, it just felt like a really long, like it was like a Dynamite, only all the matches were longer.
Before it sounds like I totally going to shit on it, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 7. Mm-hmm. Which isn't always a bad show.
I would agree with that.
But
somewhere in there.
One, because the AEW marks is AEW. The shit's supposed to be 11 every night. Especially at a pay-per-view. AEW had an opportunity to capitalize, I guess, on the quote-unquote war that they're in, via this pay-per-view. And it just didn't deliver for me for what I was expecting. Like I've enjoyed all their pay-per-views so far. I've enjoyed most of their shows, but this one just kind of let me down because it was a good, a good lineup for the night for sure. But I just feel like, one, I've seen a lot of these matches a couple times already, and two, I feel like we've rushed a lot of things in this pay-per-view, especially the MJF shit. Like that probably could have waited till like the last night of the year, first night of the new year. It just was like a month too early.
I wanted to ask about that directly. Did they turn MJF heel too soon? We can reiterate what happened
literally by just a few weeks.
I think we might have touched on this a little bit in the last podcast. We were kind of speculating on if it would happen or not, and if it was too soon for it to happen. And when it happened, we all watched it together. I definitely thought it was a little bit too soon for it to happen, but then on Dynamite, when watching Dynamite, the real heel turn is going to be MJF turning on Jericho. Like, that's going to be new. Oh my gosh, it's going to be ridiculous.
Because it softens Jericho again.
I feel like MJF, when he inevitably turns on Jericho, the only thing that his character can do, he's
a snake.
Right. He is the snake heel character. He is the lowest of the low on the totem pole of AEW wrestlers right now in terms of heelness.
Yeah.
He has to turn heel, and that's going to be such a feud. MJF versus Jericho is going to be so fucking good. I can't wait.
To their credit, he's so fucking over as a heel. He's so hated. Everybody hates the shit out of MJF. He's one of those last pure heels where, like, even if you like him, you like to hate him. You don't really purely enjoy this dude.
I'm gonna say this. What probably happened was he probably just couldn't do face no more. Not one more night. Yo, no, I'm gonna say this, yo, and I'm not jumping out. How old is MJF? 25?
23.
23? Yo, he's gonna be one of the 5 greatest heels of all time. I mean, of like the modern era. I don't want to just be like, he's better than, Ric Flair,
Gorgeous George, or some shit.
I ain't even going that far back because they all got their game from them. So he's not even in competition. At least since the Rock era, he's going to probably be one of the 5 best dudes you ever see heel on a microphone, and that's what Steve Austin, Triple H, Rock, and probably Jericho. He's going to probably be number 5 or somewhere in that top 5. When it's all said and done, he's got it, yo. Like, he's mastered ignorance, the psychology of it, and like responding, and like he bothers me when he's a heel. It's a good in a good way. Like
that's what's supposed to happen.
Like if I was live with him, I probably would like try to headbutt him or something. So
people throw drinks on him. He was on Talk as Jericho a while ago and did not break kayfabe, and Jericho was getting annoyed with him, and he was telling stories about dudes throwing piss on him. And how he got in like a knife fight with a guy after a match because some dude pulled a knife on him in the parking lot, and he just continued to insult the guy. Just like, what do you want, you fucking redneck?
Yeah, I think that's what everybody I've heard say that they've talked to MJF or interviewed him. Everybody comes away from it being like, he's a real fucking dick. And I think that's because he never breaks character. Either that or that's just who he is.
I mean, I feel like in most cases a wrestling persona is an exaggerated version of the real person.
Would MJF make it in NWA?
Oh.
But like, could you see how he would taunt that audience? Like, it's in Georgia. It's a Southern promotion.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's deep South. Like, it's.
He and
Cornette would have some
biggest heel.
Yeah, it's
my god.
Jim Cornette loves him.
I can't believe you guys weren't all sold on the fucking Cody Rhodes.
That's what I was gonna say.
Match.
That was probably the best match for
match
me.
Was fucking amazing.
That and the one that you.
I'm not gonna lie. The MJF shit spoiled it for me.
Really?
Like what really sold me on the match is Cody saying, if you don't win, he'll never challenge for it again. So now I want to see how you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
So it's like. Gray called a disqualification. I was down for a disqualification.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's why I feel so spoiled about the MJF shit. Like, you're gonna sell him out in this match, bro? Like,
yeah.
Not like at least get a DQ to where it's like he can get a rematch, I guess, in a sense of like he didn't lose the match, he just didn't win the belt.
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's continue the story, but it's just like, are we done with Jericho Cody that fast?
Well, I'll tell you what, that gave MJF, not that he needed it, but it gave him even more heat because everybody's like, did you just ruin this guy's career?
I just feel like it just is so, I mean, them being done with Jericho Cody is just so anti-WWE. Like, probably don't want that as like their branded match because like that's probably the biggest match that they can really put. Singles wise,
and it was
that's not Kenny and Cody.
Going back to it, we haven't talked about it specifically, and how much can we really analyze on the podcast? But Cody versus Jericho for me was a great match. Great psychology
for sure.
Really old school wrestling tactics. Really building
lion tamer.
Building up heat, got the lion tamer,
like a couple real lion tamer.
Amazing false finishes. You got Cody busting himself open and cracking a rib on the fucking steel entrance ramp, which we commented on the beginning of the show when we were watching it together. We were like, oh, what the fuck is up with that entrance ramp? It goes right, because that's not a very common thing. Yeah. I think they built it just so Cody could break his face on it. And he cut his forehead all the fuck up and was bleeding everywhere. It was amazing. It reminded me of if anyone had seen the Double or Nothing match against his brother Dustin Goldust.
Another great match, yeah.
Cody has this ability to bring these sort of matches out of his opponent, these very psychologically intense, emotional storytelling matches. What do you think separates the way he tells a story from other wrestlers? Is there something that you can pinpoint?
Oh, the cocaine.
He's up all night. Dude, I gotta tell you, I got fucking idea.
Them boys get ready for that match. Like he's went all in all his AEW matches.
Pun intended.
Like, yeah, that was sweet. Like literally, like he's giving you blood, he's giving you broken bones, he's giving you losses. So it's just like he's laying it all out there. I feel like he still has so much to prove to wrestling. You know, with not just being a wrestler, but being how his dad was, how orchestrated he was behind the curtain with wrestling also. Yeah. I don't even think we're at the middle of Cody's chapter yet. Like he's going to be around for like 30, 40 more years. Like
I would say so. I hope so. For me, I appreciate what Cody's been doing with wrestling lately because, like I said, his storytelling is at an all-time high. It's kind of hard to describe if you're not watching the matches, but just the way in which every move is so deliberate and it really takes on that shape of like really good theater, you know what I mean? It makes you think about wrestling as like a really classic American theater form, essentially, you know what I mean? To Rod's credit and to his point, I think Cody does think about Dusty a lot and he wants to be like his old man, and I think he probably focuses more on storyline development, even in a match. Like his in-ring is less about the athletics and more about how can I break this down and sell this.
That's what wrestling is, though. Yeah. Or it's supposed to be, at least.
That's the classic pro wrestling. So that's more power to Cody Rhodes. I'm happy with what he did. Overall, the pay-per-view, I would agree with Grayson and Rod. Probably about a 7.5. It was good, but only the Cody and Jericho match really caught me on that level, and the finale, which I was a little disappointed on, but we'll get into that right now. What did you guys make of the lights out hardcore match, if you want to call it that, between Moxley and Omega?
I don't know. As a young lad growing up in the mean streets of Philadelphia, I was kind of raised on ECW.
Yes.
And as a result of being raised on ECW and being a bit of a weeb, I don't know, I also like FMW. Yeah, when I was a kid, I used to really love that stuff. Really, really loved hardcore deathmatchy type stuff. So this was, I guess, a little bit jarring. It's been a while since I watched some of this stuff, but I thought they both, put it all out there. They gave it their all. They fucking laid their bodies on the line. I thought it was a pretty good match. Again, just a little bit jarring. It's been a while since I've seen any of that like pretty hardcore stuff,
Well, I know like a lot of journalists were saying things like Dave Meltzer was panning it and saying that it was not a good look for wrestling in 2019, and I can't remember, somebody else, another wrestling journalist said it set wrestling back 20 years or something, which is such fucking over-exaggerated bullshit for what I personally, again, maybe I'm a fucking ghoul, but I thought the match was pretty tame, relatively speaking. It didn't really make me, it was, God damn it.
Yeah, it was that type of match.
They're coming to get Mox and Omega.
That was that type of match. It just wasn't pro wrestling, and that's what they've been quote unquote pushing for the last few years. They want to be pro wrestlers. Kenny Omega, who might be the greatest wrestler in the world, arguably. I don't want him to feel like he got to prove that to people, that he can have that type of match. It's like he probably needed to prove that to Moxley, that he can have that type of match.
I think he needed to prove it to himself.
Yeah, I kind of thought he was maybe doing it just to experience it, prove it to himself.
I just don't like that shit, because it's like, the internet is dangerous. Kids see this shit, and they think because you can make it through it, they can make it through it, and they try it at home, and I don't like the influence. Like,
if it wasn't for backyard wrestling, we wouldn't have the Young Bucks.
No, that's facts.
Or Will Ospreay.
That's facts.
Or
that's
any
facts.
of these dudes,
but,
for the most part.
But it's just, I don't want kids to have to go that route. Like, it's ways to become wrestlers, and putting yourself and killing yourself. Being Joey Janela Jr. just doesn't do it.
But Joey Janela's rad, kids. Joey Janela's the GOAT. To be positive and all that shit, I will say that Rod is right. If you're young guy or gal, there are wrestling schools. You can find advertisements online and shit. There's reputable sources. I know Monster Factory in New Jersey is very reputable. I can't remember the name of the wrestling school, but doesn't Chikara?
Yeah, I don't know what Chikara's John is called.
Chikara has a wrestling school in Northeast Philly. Do some research if you want to get into wrestling. There's ways you could do it without having to break a light bulb over your fucking head. But if you are going to break a light bulb over your fucking head, tell me and I'll pay money to watch.
Heard.
But so many people, I just wanted to take a moment to talk about this match a little bit more because, like I said, a lot of people in the wrestling media were saying that it was too violent and that a major promotion shouldn't be promoting death matches or garbage wrestling, which I think is a little bit of a strong term for what it was. It reminded me a lot of like WWE's more hardcore matches from back in the late 90s, like early aughts, There wasn't a tremendous amount of blood compared to even... I mean, if you go back and watch John Cena bleed like a stuck pig against like JBL and just take a whole white limousine and cover it in his blood, that's a little extreme. There's like this sort of tie here. Everybody keeps talking about deathmatch wrestling, garbage wrestling. Moxley, even when he was coming out for the match on the ramp down, just looked at the camera and said, okay, here's time for some fucking garbage wrestling. So...
I don't know. I think there's like different levels to stuff, I suppose. I mean, there's like the WWE kind of like, you have a no holds barred match where you're in the crowd some. There might be a Nikki Cross trash can lid that's probably made out of,
aluminum, lightweight.
Right. Some sort of a thin aluminum type thing, where you're using things that are weapons, foreign objects, but people aren't really getting hurt in like real life. There's another level, maybe like ECW tier for the most part. We're not talking about like Sabu versus Cactus Jack barbed wire match, but there's another level, like your average ECW semi-hardcore match where like people are maybe getting hit with
people going
chairs
through tables.
and
There's chair shots to the head, which is not a thing anymore.
Maybe you have a little bit of something a little bit more hardcore than that, but like for maybe just a spot or two, and that's about it. Like maybe a flaming table or something like that. Maybe some thumbtacks, something like along those lines. But that's about it. And then you have your backyard wrestling, your kind of maybe your like death match type wrestling.
Yeah. Got juggalos breaking glass tables over their fucking
like those
head.
old like Japanese. See, I don't know. These were probably kind of fixed too, but like the old Japanese like exploding ring match type thing.
Oh, those are cool.
And, like the barbed wire everywhere and broken glass and light tubes and like...
I would say that if you have a taste for violence in your media...
It's definitely tiers of violence though.
I would... Like I said before, like it's like spice levels in your food. I feel like everybody has... Because wrestling is about violence on a certain level. Like even the most tame pro wrestling match, the idea is you are making it appear that you're punching this dude, you're flipping him over your head, you're pinning somebody, you're choking somebody out. Violence is implicit in wrestling. The question is, how much is warranted for the fight? Like, how much these guys hate each other? How much violence does the fan base want to see? And also, how much violence is just distasteful? You know what I mean? Like, where is the line of, quote, good taste in wrestling? Which is already, I mean, we talked about Jim Cornett, and we talked about all sorts of like MJF. Like, where is the line of taste? So like violence and blood is always sort of a tricky thing in wrestling.
I'm just not into death matches at all.
Is there a place for this style of wrestling in mainstream promotions in 2019? So,
I mean, I guess. I mean, if people want to potentially kill themselves, does it turn you off enough of AEW that they put on the match? No, I'm over it. But if they're trying to make this a thing, then no. Yeah, I would. No, it's not gonna work for me. Literally, Kenny Omega and John Moxley could have put on a match 10 times greater than that with none of that shit. And
I think they still will. I think.
Yeah, I mean, like they can go. That's a match I wouldn't mind see going an hour because I feel like those are two guys that can go hard for an hour in an Iron Man match. Yeah. I would appreciate them going the distance, and I just feel like there's more pro wrestling that I can get out of watching them versus, have a backyard alley match. Like, that shit it's just not necessary.
It seems like AEW wants to give people some creative control. Like, if John Moxley and Darby Allin and what's the other lad's name? Jimmy Havoc.
Joey Janela.
If these guys
have a
want
roster
to do this stuff.
They have a roster not full, but they have a good chunk of their roster who come from deathmatch wrestling.
I'm sure that Khan doesn't want this stuff happening to his talent to some extent.
People who wrestle in death matches, are they just like wrestlers who are really dedicated to having hardcore matches, or wrestlers who just have a promotion that has a following actually promoting them and they're just doing whatever?
I think it's a split. I think that the guys that are in AEW now, it's sort of a split. It's like being like an MMA fighter to a certain degree, where there are people that get off on the violence of it and at the same time want there to be the structure of the wrestling match so they can, do some violent shit, get bloody themselves, but know that you have somebody's back on a certain level. There's people that psychologically enjoy participating in these, and also there's a lot of people that are super desperate and need the money and shit like that. So it's a slippery slope. You're right.
It's good that they're not desperate. These are two of the higher paid guys on the roster. And it's just like.
And I think personally, like getting back to my point about the match, I didn't think it was as brutal as a lot of people made it out to.
For sure it wasn't.
Like a lot of the stuff, like the glass, for instance, didn't look like real glass. It looked like it was sugar glass. It looked pretty obvious that it wasn't real glass. Yeah, I thought it was pretty obvious that it was sugar glass.
I was wondering. I mean,
it kind of powdered up in a way,
but the idea of it it bothered me, and I guess I'm soft now because I'm getting older. But it's just like, but even back then, it's just like I felt like some ECW was rough for me. Like I never really liked seeing people go through flaming table. I was only cool with seeing Mick Foley take thumbtacks because I thought he was unbreakable.
Right, exactly.
But then he's one like when Edge did it, and when he went through the flaming table, like I felt bad for Edge. Like what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
Hardcore guys.
I think there are some people that legitimately like that type of wrestling. There's also, like I was saying before, there's sort of this gray area where I think Cody is from a school of wrestling from Dusty where red equals green.
Cody, Dusty.
Well, the idea of red equals green is an old thing that people say in wrestling, which means blood equals money. Yeah. So people want to see a bloody match. That's why Ric Flair, Dusty Rhodes, those dudes had blonde hair because they would, blading is a thing in wrestling. I mean, you'd cut your forehead so that you'd be bleeding, the crimson mask as they call it. Your face is bloody, your hair, your bleach blonde hair is all bloody and shit.
It's very dramatic.
Very dramatic. It's a good show. And Cody does that to this day. He was busted open on that pay-per-view.
I don't know if he's had a big match where he hasn't done it.
So I don't like Cody with blonde hair. That just still...
Bleeding, busting open is a part of regular wrestling, but it's all about the extent. What kind of violence you have, the barbed wire and all this stuff.
I don't know if you guys saw this or heard this. It's there's, I guess, a rumor going around. I don't know if it's actually true or not that Cody or AEW is... just bought the rights or filed for the rights to AEW Blood and Guts. So I'm assuming that means that there's going to be a hardcore pay-per-view coming up in the next year.
I know Rodney's feelings on it. I personally like hardcore matches. I think there's a level of
maybe if Joey Styles call it, I'll be alright.
Yeah. Again, there's a level of spice. Like I grew up, like Grayson was saying, we grew up in the Philly area. I grew up watching ECW, so I've always had hardcore matches in my life. It's something that I appreciate, but
and after that we had CZW.
Yeah. And the other thing to point out though, guys, I know you're saying that maybe Tony Khan doesn't like this shit. I think Tony Khan was an ECW fan. He went to live events. He had his dad fly him out to
Everybody
Philly.
Was a fan, but Tony Khan paid that insurance. So,
I know, but what I'm saying is I think that I would bet that Tony Khan and Cody both want there to be hardcore wrestling of some degree on the bill, because part of the thing that AEW seems to be promoting versus WWE is that they have a very diverse type of match set. That's what they want to go for. They want to be able to have all sorts of different types of wrestling on the bill. Give fans, like, quote unquote, like a choice or an option. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Something appeals to some people, but not everybody. Alright, so we're back, and this week we're going to do things a little bit differently. We're going to do a little sandwich with a little Raw and a little SmackDown. We're going to talk about both quote-unquote main roster shows in the past couple weeks leading up to the Survivor Series pay-per-view, which we will do some predictions for at the end of the show. First, what do we got? We got the new Raw theme song that I didn't really notice until the last week. I was watching Raw in bed, and I was like, the fuck is up with this theme song? It's ass. Who the hell wrote this shit?
We need that old song back. We're in this together.
Who is that?
I refuse to see the change in me. Why don't you wake up?
Wake up!
Yeah, I need that in my life.
So, and then AEW Dynamite theme song is, in my opinion, it's pretty good. It's Fozzy, right? Didn't Chris and Fozzy do it? Because
Is it really?
I think
it sounds like something that you would hear on like a promotion for like a football game or something like that.
But yeah, Fozzy, man. Well, Chris has got to get that multiple revenue stream, man. You got to get your hands in all the different pockets. You got, and then NXT is just metal as fuck because Triple H is all. I like the NXT metal shit. I do. I would say it's my favorite because I feel like perhaps it's a little hardcore for what NXT actually is, but it sets the tone.
I just feel like they just let Fred Durst do all of it.
This time I'm gonna let it all come out. This time
let's get some wrestling guys back on the wrestling music, please.
Well, I'll tell you, wrestling.
Let's get some Insane Clown Posse or something.
ICP. Get some Fred Durst. Get Shawn Michaels on the vocals and shit.
Hey.
I think I'm cute. I know I'm sexy.
Sherry Martel.
Got the looks.
On the reverb.
To drive the girls.
Drive the girls
move.
wild.
Move.
Yeah, we're
Ice and chills.
Who made the Ultimate Warrior?
Up and down their spine. I'm just a
classic.
sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy.
So we're actually going to be releasing a cover album of wrestling themes around Christmas time if you guys are interested.
And on that note, I'm cashing in my promo in the bank.
Promo in the bank, you are the best at predicting shit, so tell them kiss my ass. Hey.
Yeah, that's right. Cole Keith cashing in the promo in the bank, and I got something to tell you, Vince and Paul Heyman. Put your fucking dicks down, take off your Venetian masks, unplug your DVD with the fucking copy of Eyes Wide Shut in it, and pull up your goddamn pants, alright? I'm sick of this Lana, Rusev, Bobby Lashley shit. I'm done with it. Everybody on the internet's like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. No, it's not. It's trash. Oh, she keeps fucking up her promos, but otherwise, if she did the promo right, it would be great. Oh, is 90 feet away restraining order a better storyline than 90 miles away? Pull your head out of your fucking ass. They got him breaking kayfabe in Boston with the divorce filings on the screen and their fucking shoot names. Oh, CJ whatever versus whatever the fuck Rusev's name, and with a court of law. Bullshit. Fuck all this. What's gonna happen next? Lashley's gonna come out with a toothpick and be like, oh man, sorry dude, I gotta pick her pubes out of my mouth. What the fuck? Where are you going with this? I'm done, WWE. Put some matches on. You want a Bobby Lashley line versus Rusev? Have them fucking wrestle. Also, second point, totally unrelated to wrestling. I'm sick of watching the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. Fuck that. I hope Jerry Jones chokes on a fucking turkey leg and dies. I'm sick of it. America's team. Fuck America's team. It's 2019. They got Thursday Night Football. Put any old fucking team out there. I got no beef with the Detroit Lions. I understand tradition. I'm not a fucking monster. But if I gotta see that goddamn star on my TV one more Thanksgiving, I'm gonna lose my shit. And that was Cole Keith cashing in his promo in the bank.
Oof, wow. That was...
You know, I might just forego and...
Roger Goodell, I'm coming for you.
I'm going to lose. I'm going to predict everything wrong on purpose. Just so Keith can win and we get another one of those to stay tuned for. I did not know that was coming.
That was great.
That was off the dome.
That was great.
Becky Lynch opens the Raw that aired on November 11th, the one that they recorded in Manchester when they recorded SmackDown, all that stuff. She had a fire sauce promo. Crowd was a little lukewarm. She comes out to Boston the next week, and she's at NXT. Little spoiler alert there when we talk about NXT. Bigger pops when she opens those shows. Do you think the average fan is getting a little tired of Becky Lynch? How do you guys feel about the title run of the man?
I'm starting to feel some type of way every time I see that big ass black and white sign that says the man, and out comes the woman with the belt. I want a piece of Becky Lynch. Tell Seth Rollins I said it.
You might have to call up Rusev and Lana, and
However, I'm over the man gimmick. Like I like Lacey Evans. I feel like they blew it on that feud with Lacey Evans and Becky Lynch, the man and the woman. Like that could have been a good thing there. Like even if Becky had to get the W in the long run, but that would have been a nice women's right. Put her to sleep. Yeah, let her get the belt for a week. That would have been that was bars right there.
Woo!
Yeah, that would have been nice, and you would have did a job for somebody,
I feel like they've been writing. WWE does this thing where they'll catch on to what the fans want. We were talking about this with Seth Rollins last time. They get a feeling for what the fans want too late almost after they already made the opposite opinion. Like the reason why Becky Lynch is so big now is because they tried to turn her heel and everybody still liked her as a heel.
Last Survivor Series when she didn't make it through, they probably promised her the run until this Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Remember somebody who blew her face up? Nia Jax.
Nia Jax punched her right in the fucking face. Very classic image if you see Becky Lynch bleeding out her damn face. But
I feel like that helped get her over too.
No,
yeah.
thanks.
I mean, she was hot all the way through WrestleMania and then after. But I feel like it's wearing out its welcome. I wouldn't say it's her fault. Things just sort of. It's not great booking by WWE, but they definitely haven't screwed her over in any way. It's not like the sort of heat that we were talking about Seth and Roman getting. Becky, it's just kind of losing a little bit of steam for me. How do you feel, Grayson?
I like Becky. I am kind of losing my enthusiasm for her, and part of it I think is just kind of booking. Like even with the Lacey Evans, I think that some of these NXT girls need to finally come to the main roster because
Dumb.
Becky, I don't know, man. She's wrestled all of these girls that have been here.
A lot of women are hurt right now too. Like Naomi hasn't been on TV in a minute.
Man, and Ember Moon is might never wrestle again.
Oh, no.
That broke my heart.
Oh,
so it's like they're definitely depleted, but they gotta.
She tore her Achilles.
Oh, shit. I think she'll be all right. WWE oversells the injury, so when you come back out of nowhere...
That's true.
It's like, oh, shit. Seth Rollins was never supposed to come back, and then he popped up one morning on Raw one night, but...
He popped up in the morning at night?
I seen it in the night. I mean,
So they got that episode from Manchester. I gotta say, Grayson, your girls, the Kabuki Warriors, looking pretty good. They retained their tag championships against... our friends Becky and Charlotte, which again they shouldn't have had to defend that shit against them, but
they're just keeping the belts warm for some white blonde chicks to take it from them at some point. Probably Charlotte, and whoever Charlotte's gonna be with.
But I'm just saying the Kabuki Warriors for me, they're amazing, and let me, I love my wife. Gothska's looking good.
Gothska looks dope. And
I love the green makeup around the eyes.
It's almost like some Great Muta type makeup. It's cool. It's really cool.
They're doing really cool stuff with their look, their gear, their really,
Japanese promos.
They're fighting as a really good tag team. They're I thought it was a really good match.
They're finally over. You could say it.
They're finally over. And
again, they're gonna lose the belt.
Asuka to me, Asuka wasn't over with the streak. To me, I feel like they put her over because they felt like they had a special thing, but it's I think she's found her American niche at least. I mean, in wrestling at least. It's I
don't know. Is there a more exciting tag team in WWE right now? Does anything feel as fresh? There's better tag teams.
I'd say the only tag team I think is maybe better is the new Eliminators.
Undisputed Era?
There we go. There we go.
Bobby Fish and
yeah,
Colorado.
Fish and
Colorado
O'Reilly.
Eliminators.
Yeah,
I was thinking of the
took the
finisher
total
the whole time.
eliminator.
Yeah.
Total elimination.
Listen, yo, they just had a classic match.
That match was
That was
great.
amazing.
That match was great.
Send a revival back to Triple H, please. Thank you.
So this past week, on the Raw this past week on the 18th of November, one development I want to talk about is previously a few weeks ago, Dio Madden got wrecked by Brock Lesnar, so he's off the commentary team, and they introduced a new color commentator, Samoa Joe.
Joe.
How do we feel about our boy Joe?
It's only fitting
How do we feel
that
about
that WWE kind of took Taz and turned the human suplex machine into a commentator, and they're gonna take Samoa Joe, who's like a Taz that has better mic skills, and they're gonna turn him into a commentator. I guess it fits a little bit better here, but it still kind of hurts my heart a little bit.
Well, he's injured at the moment, so I feel like he might return to the ring, but I think...
I hope so. Again, I feel like they pulled that with Taz, though. They were like, oh, yeah, why don't you... Oh, we need you to do this real quick. And they were like, oh, no, this is your job now. Like,
I wouldn't mind if Samoa Joe just started, like, randomly choking people out mid-segments. Walking down to the ring to fix them high up by choking them out.
More Joe is better. At the end of the day, the more I get to see Samoa Joe or hear Samoa Joe,
he can talk.
The more happy.
He can
talk.
talk. I feel like it's a temporary fix until he gets healed up. He's got a hand or arm injury. I like Samoa Joe on commentary. I thought he did a really good job next to Vic Joseph and Jerry the King. I think he would be really good at commentary, whether he decides to pursue it versus going back to in the ring, who knows, but I think it's a good short-term solution at least, because the Raw commentary team was fucking ass.
I didn't watch it.
I was walking around, so I took my hoodie off and I was walking around as a referee, and I was getting like, "Oh shit, bro, you reffing tonight?" I was just like, "Do I get a free soda?" If I say yes?
I was about to say, right? Like, they don't have a. I know NXT has a black ref. Raw and SmackDown, they don't have a black ref, do they?
The one bald head guy with the big eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't really. WWE.
I know
NXT got a new black ref.
Yeah, I know. I noticed.
I just noticed that the other. Was he Arab or black though?
I thought he was black, but I guess I don't know. Who knows?
What else we got going on in the world of WWE? We got Baron Corbin on SmackDown coming out to fuck with Roman Reigns and doing some more corny shit. How was that when you were there? How did the dog costume play live in the arena, Rod?
The joke to me just didn't get over, but it just, I mean, it was over, but it just was like they were cracking up too hard.
What the fuck are they doing? Who writes this shit? What the fuck are they doing? Is this again?
I mean, they're making fun of Roman Reigns. They call him the little dog. So it's just like they're just poking petty jokes, I guess.
But it's like corny. Like the inner circle isn't doing this in AEW, and in fact, NXT isn't even like the heels in NXT aren't even doing this shit.
Corbin. All right, this is King Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. What did you expect? I don't know. I mean, but they put over Shorty G and Mustafa Ali.
About time. I'm about to say about as much as one can put over Shorty G.
A man named Shorty.
Right, exactly. I like you said Mustafa Ali, right? Yeah. I mess with Mustafa Ali.
I'm glad that Mustafa Ali got his first name back.
Yeah, right.
Because that was a thing for a second. They were just calling him Ali.
Oh no. Maybe they're still calling him Ali. I just called him Mustafa Ali.
No. They did give him. Yeah, it's official. Yeah, the reason why you're saying that is because that's how they said it on the thing.
I never stopped calling him that. There's only one man I'm calling Ali.
Right, exactly. The greatest.
My dad's last name is Ali, and I don't call him Ali.
Other thing about that SmackDown show, you were there live, Rodney, but the ratings on the TV were not especially great. Viewership has fallen from the past month when they debuted on Fox. They're still at 2.35 million viewers, which isn't terrible, but they were 9th most watched program on network TV on Fridays. So
it's Friday, though. I think that's a bad night for TV.
It is, but they should be doing better than the 9th best. They're behind like Hawaii 5-0 and like the fucking Wheel.
I just don't. It was a shitty show, to be honest. Like,
do you think they've lost like the buzz that they initially had around moving to Fox?
no Brock Lesnar. So yeah,
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like it's not what you were selling. It's just same old WWE. So
Yes.
now that everybody knows that, that's just how you got to treat them. But we knew it was going to be like that. Like when we were talking about the superstar shakeup a few weeks ago, it's just like, yeah, it's just to get you hype, and then they start moving people where they really want to keep them for real. So
Well, I was a fucking fool because I expected a totally different product as a strong.
You know Vince McMahon as well as you think you know Vince McMahon, all right? Don't play yourself. You knew it was going to happen.
I played myself, Ron. God damn it. Yeah, no, I did, though. I really was a fool. Like, I anticipated, like, our first podcast, we were talking about the Brock Lesnar, Cain Velasquez angle, and we were talking about the Real Sports presentation, how they're, they have their new FS1 backstage show, which CM Punk, we could talk about that in a second. CM Punk debut.
Where they didn't tell nobody where he's only going to do select shows. And
yes.
Every now and again, and it's not like, tune in. If you see CM Punk on there, it's probably because the ratings were really shitty or it was a really good show. You'll never see him on there on like an average night, I bet. And start to CM Punk boat rolling again. I didn't get to see they started the CM Punk chant like maybe 50 times at the SmackDown. But it was just like, CM Punk's chants have been dying over the last year or so.
That's true.
It's like,
it's good to get him back.
Okay, but it's time to get his ass back in the ring.
But I was a fool. I really thought that they were going to change up the style. Like, Grayson, we were talking about a little pre-production meeting today. We were talking about how... I thought that they were going to have a more real sport MMA style presentation between AEW saying wins and losses matter and NXT being more about the matches and in-ring stuff. They got me, man.
And I think one of the things that at least led me to believe that was the booking for one of these pay-per-views, or I guess was that Crown Jewel? I guess prior to that we had, MMA guy and a boxer show up. And so that was kind of leading me to believe, as well as, having Brock Lesnar on SmackDown. I was like, oh man, it looks like they're trying to go for more of a boxing MMA type thing. But now it seems like it was maybe just a gimmick for,
I think Vince just wanted to pop Fox and lie to them, and now he's just got Baron Corbin bringing out stuffed dog dudes.
I feel like Vince just got over on Fox. He got some new money that they got locked into. He can always go back to USA if he wants to. They love him forever. Wrestling is on USA for how many years? 30 years almost?
1 million.
Ever.
So it's like, that's not going nowhere. But like with Fox, he's kind of like over on them because it's like they're probably thinking of different ways to deliver it. But it's not too many ways to deliver it if you don't change the writers.
No.
Gotta change the writers.
Hey, takes a lot of fuel. No, never mind. Ooh, Deshaun Watson touchdown.
Yes, hold up. Thank you for telling me I had FanDuel popping right now.
I got Hopkins got 10 points already. It's only halftime. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, fantasy football.
I have a Texan on my team, but they haven't gotten a single fucking point from me.
Who you got?
I got Duke fucking Johnson.
Damn,
That's
I got
dumb.
Duke too because I got stuck with him.
I mean, never mind.
I got Duke.
Anyway, welcome back to the People's Pipebomb podcast. Took a little bit of a break. In our absence, while we were recording the first half of this episode, a party broke out on the first floor of my house here, and
luxurious 2-floor.
Hey man,
Come on, sell it, man. Sell it, man.
I ain't selling shit. I live in hell, guys. You don't want to have any part of my shit. I live in a cardboard box, as far as you know. But on the first floor of my palatial estate, a party broke out. My beautiful wife is hosting. We got a little bit of a Thanksgiving-style party since Thanksgiving is next week. Happy Thanksgiving to all of our listeners. Yeah, I feel recharged, I got a little bit of rotisserie chicken instead of turkey. $6 a pop. Shout out Acme. And yeah, a little bit of red wine, and I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling loosey.
She was out there popping a bubble.
I was about to say, Cold Keith, you are underselling it a little bit.
Come on, man.
Freaking a leak.
We saw you outside with a little bit of the bubbly.
Yeah, shout out Danae. My homie Danae brought some Prosecco, and I had to pop it, and then my wife yelled at me because I might have shot the cork into a small dog's yard. Now, the small dog doesn't own the house, but I think he hangs out in the yard, in which case he's gonna choke on the cork. It's a dog, man. He could eat that shit.
Bro, that's just part of the game.
Yeah, man. If I had a nickel for every time that I pooped out a cork.
About to say, we should ask Roman Reigns on his opinion on this whole thing. Speaking of little dogs.
Anyway, back to the program. We're going to talk a little bit about NXT and how that plays into both War Games, their pay-per-view coming up on Saturday, and Survivor Series, the pay-per-view that everybody is anticipating on Sunday, November 24th. So, first things first, a couple weeks ago we had NXT. Finn Balor came out and cut a promo on Johnny Gargano saying, he's still out with just a little bit of a bruise. And, that's a big, heel move because obviously Johnny Gargano got the shit beat out of him by Finn Balor. He's talking trash on Johnny Gargano, talking trash on NXT in general. And Matt Riddle comes out to defend the brand and I guess retaliate because they probably had some beef before. Evidently, they're setting up a match for War Games, Finn Balor versus Matt Riddle, which should be a really good match. I would definitely be excited to see that.
Always excited for more Matt Riddle, honestly.
Matt Riddle is great. He's on a roll lately.
He's getting better. A lot better.
He's getting better quickly. And Finn Balor is doing great down in NXT, talking shit, just being a heel. My question to you, though, I was thinking about it because Finn's heel promo was so good. And we don't necessarily get a lot of that in NXT per se. There's so much of a focus on the in-ring action. Who do you think is the best heel in NXT?
Because there's levels of heels. There's like heels that, one, clearly are heels, but is over like shit, Adam Cole.
Right.
But then you got somebody like Shayna Baszler, who is probably the truest heel in form with heat. Mm-hmm. And then Tommaso Ciampa is probably just the sickest.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Because he's the only person I think can get to that Steve Austin level of hatred and love at the same time if he get pushed properly.
I'm assuming we're not counting the Kabuki Warriors because they're only here for a vacation. Ciampa was definitely one of the top people on my list. I like your call with Adam Cole. I personally, Io Shirai is maybe my favorite wrestler in the world right now.
Io Shirai as a heel in NXT is the best version of Io Shirai. My opinion.
Ooh, okay. All right. We
That's my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, I got you. I
like the hair, I like the motorcycle jackets, I like the fuck you attitude.
I love this heel Io Shirai. It's definitely my favorite version of Io Shirai on NXT. I'm gonna show you some Stardom Io Shirai. It might change your opinion on that a little bit.
I'm digging what Finn Balor's doing. I think he's filling a role that's really necessary because, like you're saying, Rod, Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era are supposed to be the heels of the show. Yet at the same time, everybody fucking loves them. Mm-hmm. They're sort of like, not Steve Austin, but they're like DX or something like that when DX was super over in a certain sense. There are people that are supposed to...
they got DX vibes?
No, because DX had this sort of silly playfulness about them that Undisputed Era doesn't.
They don't play, right? They got like a young Horseman thing going on.
That's
like,
true.
If Shawn Michaels ever led the Horsemen.
Yeah. Right. I guess that might be a little bit more apropos, but the idea is like Undisputed Era is a heel faction, but at the same time, they're really beloved by fans because they're hard workers, their in-ring shit's amazing, and I don't know, they just get over that like bad boy persona. It seems cool, like you want to be in Undisputed Era.
They've also got the indie cred. I don't know, they've got the indie cred.
I'm with Rod though. I would say personally my favorite heel overall is from the women's division, and it's Shayna Baszler. She hands down is the best heel they have, and I don't know how much longer that's going to be sustainable because as we talked about before, there's every likelihood that Shayna moves up at some point. If for nothing else, just to shake it up. Move up is not the right word, but changes rosters.
They are intertwining Baszler and her clique well with Becky, Bayley, beating up on Sasha. Not really getting their hands on Charlotte too much, but like keeping it 3-on-3 until Ronda Rousey get back.
Right, I was gonna say, I feel like Rob, we've been talking about this for like
it's
a
coming.
year or so. You and I have been talking about that this needs to be a thing. that needs to happen.
The 4 horsewomen versus the 4 horsewomen.
And
we've said it a couple of times on the pod.
Right, exactly. So
I think that shows how much we're all excited for the idea of that. You know?
Yeah, I guess I didn't talk about Shayna. Shayna Baszler, as you guys have both said, is awesome. I've honestly been kind of upset that she hasn't been in the main roster yet. But if they're setting up 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen, great, fine, I will wait.
Well, we had Becky Lynch coming out for this week's NXT to open the show. She gets in a great match with Rhea Ripley, and to your point, Grayson, in a pre-production meeting. And when I say pre-production meeting, me and Grayson are shooting the shit in my kitchen, sipping tea. But
Perfect Peach.
Yeah, Perfect Peach, baby. Yo, shout out to Perfect Peach. Let's get we don't have any advertisers yet. What about Perfect Peach?
Let's reach out.
Let's call them up and be like, guys, we like to sip your tea while we talk wrestling. What do you think?
I'm all about it, honestly.
Like, I haven't watched that shit since Harley Race.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I don't drink coffee.
Grayson's a tea man.
I'm a tea man. I don't drink coffee.
Drink coffee neither, yo.
I drank coffee a couple of days ago, and I was up until like 6 a.m, and I had like a quarter of a cup of coffee, and I was up until 6 a.m.
You know, tea has more caffeine than coffee.
I don't believe.
If you
it
don't
depends
know,
on what kind of
now
tea
you know.
you're drinking.
Oh, that's true. That's
good
true.
brother.
That's true.
Good brother. Depends on what kind of tea you're drinking, though. Good brother.
Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley had a good match, but like I was talking to Grayson about beforehand, they didn't really have a finish, which was a little disappointing, but they're building to that triple threat match. Shayna Baszler came out. For the past couple of weeks on all 3 shows, they've been plugging that triple threat match a whole lot.
I guess I just want to say, but Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch, I'm very excited for her.
She won't be on NXT long.
Rhea Ripley will not be there long.
She got her push this week.
Her.
Who she get? I think she got Sasha Friday on SmackDown. I was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and then she got Becky in the home game at NXT. So it's like she definitely got her push this week. I think Vince, you know, he like bigger people. You know, she has great size and great look as like
great size,
badass.
Yeah.
Like, so
she's swole. I was talking to Grayson about this earlier. She is, I believe, 6 foot. You can check me on that, but I think she and Charlotte are the same height, but she's like a lot more swole. Bum, bum, yeah.
Gonna cut that out.
My wife knows I got a crush on Charlotte Flair. It's all cool.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna edit that
that's
we should do a segment called "I Love My Wife" or "I Love My Girlfriend."
I'm with
just
it.
Like just for a bailout for when we talk about women's wrestling.
I'm all about it.
Like trust me, ladies. I love my wife, but barely looked all right tonight. You know.
I like the new tights. I'm just saying. it's good. It's good gear. She got good gear. Anyway. Mamma Mia Yim. Talking about that ladder match, first ladder match on NXT for the women, I should say specifically. First women's ladder match on NXT happened a couple weeks ago on the on November 13th. Mia Yim took on Io Shirai, and it was to determine who has advantage during the War Games pay-per-view coming up this Saturday. Did you all watch the match?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Decent overall. I wasn't disappointed in it. I think some of the fellas could take some spots from them. You know, they put on a good show.
Well, let's just get into a point-by-point comparison, because there was the Cole Dijakovic ladder match last night to decide who had the advantage during the men's War Games matchup. How do you think the 2 ladder matches was lined up together?
One, I feel like Adam Cole put that guy on last night. Gave him a great match. That's definitely one of his like top 5 matches on NXT.
Really?
Yeah, great match last night. No?
I thought it was okay, but I didn't think I thought it was a little too quick. I don't feel like they really got their juice working. I feel like it was.
I'm just saying,
like,
the time that they were dealing with for it just being like
it was
not
good.
A pay-per-view or a takeover. Like that was a decent ladder match on a regular show.
It was a very good match. I like the SmackDown Io Shirai.
I was gonna say, I think the women put on a better ladder match.
Different weeks, but I feel you.
Yeah.
I thought the women had a better ladder match of the two.
And part of it is something that you can't even plan for. I think Mia Yim getting busted open by the ladder really sold that match a little bit more. I heard something on the internet. People were talking about that match, and they were saying there was like a comment on some squared circle thing where somebody said, "Oh, well, back in the day, they would have just let him fight," and everybody was like piling on, like, "Yeah, it's some bullshit." They like almost stopped the match, and Io Shirai has to like stop selling and get like, you know what I mean? Like she has to kind of not put the ladder up, all this shit. The truth of the matter for me is that I understand that they have to check. It's not because she's bleeding. It's because she got hit in the head and she might have a fucking concussion.
Correct.
Right.
So they got to take care of that, and I understand that. And I didn't think it threw off that much from the momentum of the match. If anything, I thought it added to the severity. The stakes got higher because it's like, yo, she could be really injured.
It added to realism.
It was interesting to see. And then the finish of that match where the UK champion, Kaylee Ray, came out of nowhere and pushed Mia Yim from a ladder onto another ladder. She took the bump perfectly flat on her back. It looked nasty. It was a huge spill.
Yeah.
That bump was fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, that bump was nasty.
So, because of, I guess, the drama that was built between Yim and Shirai, the fact that Yim got busted open and kept working, and that final ladder bump, I would highly recommend going back. Honestly, I would recommend going back and watching both of those ladder matches, but the Mia Yim Io Shirai one had it a little bit more for me. And also, I think they did a better job of building the women's war games, the way there was interference on both sides at the end. Speaking of Matt Riddle, they had a match that was supposed to be between Matt Riddle and some random dude I don't know, and Ricochet came out.
Like this. Motherfucker.
Yeah, that
Jacked him up. I guess trying to do some heel shit, but everybody in NXT was like, yeah, Ricochet! Which is great because NXT crowd is such smarks that like Vince
right out the situation.
Yeah, like dumb Vince shit just doesn't work because they're not gonna boo Ricochet.
Ricochet can't be a heel. Ricochet being a heel, it doesn't even make any sense.
Him trying to be a heel is just like, hey guys, I don't recycle.
Yeah, no. For a lot of reasons, Ricochet can't
That's
be a
funny,
heel.
because that's really what
Yeah,
it's like.
no, for real. For a lot of reasons, Ricochet can't be a heel.
And then it was Ricochet versus Matt Riddle. They had a great match.
Great match.
And Matt Riddle wins with the roll-up, but the more impressive thing was the way they built almost every Survivor Series and War Games storyline into the schmaz afterwards. Now
But
yeah,
while also still managing, like, because the schmaz kind of began before the match ended.
Oh yeah.
Like, it was interesting. I thought that was kind of cool that they didn't pull a Becky and
Nia.
They gave a finish. No, Becky and Rhea.
and Rhea
from
Ripley.
earlier in the night.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
They gave a finish to the match because Ricochet got distracted, so Riddle got the roll.
Right.
That's how they played
I
it.
like that at the very least, there was a finish.
Yeah. So the schmaz at the end of it, they had, I will say, as much as we talked about AEW schmazes, this one made a lot more sense and was paced really well. I got to give credit to whoever booked the pacing of this.
They probably
brawl.
did it this great because SmackDown's going to fucking suck tomorrow.
Probably. So the schmaz at the end of the show, you had Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro coming out from SmackDown. Again, Ricochet's there from Raw. The match ends. Some crazy shit happens. You get Shinsuke and is beating up on Matt Riddle. And then all of a sudden, Roderick Strong comes in because he's fighting Shinsuke. And that's a whole thing that's happening at Survivor Series. And then who else comes the fuck out? Finn Balor comes out and is roughing up Matt Riddle because they have a match at War Games. Like, it just keeps building.
Pandemonium.
Listen,
Yeah.
the Drew McIntyre kick, fire.
Yeah.
But the Keith Lee finisher on Drew McIntyre.
Oh, dude.
Best spot of the whole schmaz. I don't care no one say.
Yeah.
Keith Lee put on the power for that, John. The way he threw him up in the air and just...
Keith Lee is an amazing talent, and I want to say again, we're talking about wrestlers in size previously, like AEW needs bigger dudes. Keith Lee is proof that Drew McIntyre can look kind of small.
Yeah.
He fucking powerbombed the shit out of Drew McIntyre.
He sold that power. Yo,
Bro,
he
that
really
joint's crazy. That
I
joint was
felt
crazy.
it from where I was.
That joint
Like
was crazy.
that was nuts. It really was.
So Rodney is really building this business card castle.
It really is.
I'm
That was
only now
lovely.
starting to realize it. We're gonna post this on the gram for everybody. Shit's getting real. Anyway, didn't mean to distract you.
No, it's all good.
No, I meant Rodney.
No.
It's interesting that we're talking about NXT here in the context of like the Wednesday Night Wars, maybe. Like if we're talking about it versus AEW.
In
or
that
other
context, I think the NXT definitely had a better show. I guess really the thing is any of this shit gonna matter in 2 weeks? Is really
point.
my thing with the NXT show was
That's why everybody's going to tune in.
Yes.
Right after Survivor Series to find out.
Yes. Well,
Right,
I think. Well,
hopefully
Rodney,
that's their thought. You would think.
During our break, or perhaps silently while we were recording the first half of the pod, Rodney showed me a piece of info on the internet where the ratings are out, and NXT last night beat out AEW for the first time since they've both been on the air. So, congratulations to NXT.
I'll
for
bail
that.
NXT. I'll bail AEW out. It was the go home NXT.
And,
I agree.
and
That's the whole reason. I also tuned into NXT first, and the
I will
reason
say
was
this.
I want to see what happens.
I have not gotten an NXT I haven't liked on USA yet.
I have a question for you guys because we're talking about the go home show for NXT, and I do believe because it's why I watched above AEW is because it was the go home show for not one but 2 pay-per-views. They have War Games and Survivor Series coming up this weekend. My question to you is, has the build to War Games and Survivor Series simultaneously, has that muddied the waters on storylines for you guys? Because for me, that's my one complaint, is that I feel like the motivations for wrestlers across War Games and Survivor Series seem mixed. It's like,
Okay.
I'm going to fuck you up on this one, and next night, we're all in it together.
I mean, one, that's how brothers are. You know, yes, yes, we can fight, but nobody can fight against us. So it's like you see, like they're really investing into the rest of the roster. So it's like when you finally do move, you know, certain guys who've been down there up.
Yeah.
This is their opportunity to main event via the mid card on a big weekend. Survivor Series is still a big weekend, if you ask me. Yeah, man, and it's just like certain guys are going to get to shine this week, like the Undisputed Era, who are probably the most over thing in NXT. I mean, fuck it, in WWE altogether.
Yeah.
Like they're the most over faction, and it's just like they're wrestling on both nights.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Once as a unit, and then next in individual matches. Roman Reigns the captain of one team, and Seth Rollins the captain of the other team. Those are the faces of the shows. The
Yeah, why
face
not?
of NXT
Yeah, absolutely.
is Adam Cole, like it or not. Tommaso Ciampa if he got the belt, but it's Adam Cole.
But it gives Ciampa something to do. I mean, I guess they could have found something else for Ciampa to do.
I mean, Ciampa should be on the team too, but he could have been
But
the captain.
they
but
won't
he,
play nice.
But like I said, he's leading the War Games thing the night before, so it's like you don't want to give him too much.
No, but actually-
Adam Cole is one of them guys.
This
See, it's
gentlemen, this brings me to my next point. Is WWE, Vince, whomever, is somebody setting them up for failure here? Are they overexposed with 2 pay-per-views back to back? Well,
They always do it though.
Overexposed. No, here you go. Here's what I'm saying. Overexposed might not be the right term because I'm not saying that we would be sick of seeing them, but are they spreading themselves too thin?
Most of NXT's roster has already been doomed to failure on the main roster. It's kind of the inherent quality of being in NXT is that
true,
if you
but
go to the main roster,
That's
you're
not
gonna
true, man.
fail.
It is true, but we're in no. It
Who's
is true.
failed from
It
NXT
is
on
true.
the main roster?
Everybody.
Sami Zayn,
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Kevin Owens.
He's failed? Are you all right? So I'm going to
No,
I'm going to give you Sami Zayn. I'm definitely going to give you Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn
Yeah.
and Cesaro at that NXT takeover a couple years ago.
Andrade so far.
But they protected Andrade. They're not
You know
letting
why
him get
they?
pinned.
Let's
They're
go
not
back.
letting him get
whoa,
pinned.
whoa, whoa, let's go
I'm
back.
listening.
You know why they protect Andrade? Because he's fucking Charlotte Flair.
Possibly, but he is great though. Like, let's
He's
not.
amazing. I love Andrade, but I'm saying the only reason why Vince gives a shit is because he listens to Charlotte Flair.
Possibly.
Because of Ric Flair.
it's just bad booking in WWE. Nobody's really getting driven to shit. Sami Zayn has definitely gotten driven to shit, but
Shinsuke Nakamura.
Up until recently, I would say Asuka because she got
main evented a WrestleMania, won a Royal Rumble.
He won a Royal Rumble, but he did not main event the WrestleMania.
He was
and he did
was
not
part
win the
of one of the main events of WrestleMania.
And now they just have him in the mid card, and half the time don't even put him on TV.
He listen.
Come on,
Sami Zayn worked for him. He's winning.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I feel like
I
they never get pushed.
have a feeling our more smart listeners are just going to be screaming names that I'm not thinking.
I feel like Vince got a good idea of what he didn't know about NXT and what they're capable of over this last few weeks of this little invasion that they did. This whole little NXT invasion already beats out the WCW invasion. Just want to throw that one completely in there.
Easily.
Again.
What are you guys thinking about the War Games pay-per-view overall? We're not going to do predictions, but just give me some impressions of the War Games.
So this will probably just speak to my personal ignorance.
War Games!
I hope Raw and SmackDown ruins the whole men's War Games and stomp them out. And the NXT team got to go hard the next night. I hope the invasion doesn't stop. I hope they invade TakeOver, Raw and SmackDown. It will definitely help with selling Survivor Series out.
Rodney, are you saying you want them to take over?
I want them to take over.
You've heard it here.
Team Takeover.
First. All right, gentlemen.
But I'll watch it. It's the next day.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for. We're going to talk about Survivor Series. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, I love them bars. Survivor Series is the second oldest wrestling pay-per-view in history, behind only WrestleMania. Both, of course, are produced by WWE. The then WWF aired the first Survivor Series in 1987, capitalizing on the still-cresting wave of ratings and big money coming into wrestling, and of course, the massive success of WrestleMania 3, with such matches as Hogan versus Andre the Giant and Savage versus Steamboat. So Vince McMahon created Survivor Series as an event to take place in November every year around Thanksgiving. He wanted to make wrestling as much of a part of American Thanksgiving tradition as NFL football. So the first 8 Survivor Series events either aired on Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving Eve. Survivor Series is most associated in wrestling with its signature style match, the Survivor Series elimination match, where teams of 5 wrestlers are pitted against each other, and the match goes on as a tag team style match until all of the members of one of the teams are defeated. In recent years, the teams have been normally Raw versus SmackDown, sort of pitting the two main roster promotions against each other. But this year, NXT joins the fold, and it's going to be a 15-man Survivor Series elimination match, as well as a 15-woman Survivor Series elimination triple threat. Too many people in the goddamn ring at one time style match. So I'm excited for that. It should be a different spin on the whole thing. Other highlights of the pay-per-view are the champion versus champion matches that regularly take place. Last year, the Brock Lesnar versus Daniel Bryan match was particularly good in my opinion.
I agree.
In general, guys, what are your thoughts on the Survivor Series pay-per-view?
I mean, I feel like with them having as many options as they did this week, they should have treated this shit like a Mania weekend. I'm not sure where the pay-per-view is, but it should have been in warm climate so everybody can come out and enjoy wrestling this weekend because there's a lot of good wrestlers on both cards.
So for me personally, Survivor Series, I feel like it's very up and down. I guess that's just wrestling in general. If you're going to be around for 30 years, you're going to be up and down. Yeah, I mean, this Survivor Series pay-per-view for me right now, this is like the second biggest WWE pay-per-view as far as I'm concerned of the year.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. This is like WrestleMania type, like you're saying, Rod. Like, I haven't been this excited for a WWE pay-per-view that wasn't WrestleMania in I don't know how long. I'll be honest.
I'm a huge fan of the Royal Rumble, as it were. I love a good Royal Rumble.
Oh,
but,
yeah, the Rumble? The Royal Rumble?
The Rumble's normally my shit. I would say that the Royal Rumble is probably my favorite event in general, but I am very excited for this Survivor Series. And in general, Survivor Series, I think Vince hit the mark with me because I do associate Survivor Series with Thanksgiving, and I do appreciate, it's like the beginning of the holiday season. You got Survivor Series, you got TLC in December now that they're doing that, and you got the Rumble in New Year's in January. So I generally get stoked for a lot of shit come Survivor Series time. What was the first Survivor Series that you remember watching?
1993.
Shit.
A classic.
Foreign Fanatics versus the All Americans. It's supposed to be the Steiners, Lex Luger, and Tatanka versus Yoko, Ludwig Vorga, and
Gesundheit.
I don't want to call them the Quebecers. What are they called, the Quebecers? It
The
Quebecers.
Quebecers, yeah.
Yep. So they kind of...
That was PCO's squad, wasn't it?
When they put Rick Steiner out, they went and got Undertaker. But they told the story for like a month. So it's just like, when you look back at how Vince used to have control of what was going on, his madness made sense, because he had all these episodes, that he was previously recording and then putting out, and it was telling the right story versus live. Live is a different ball game, it's like it doesn't always go as expected.
You're trying to see what people like and plugging in those things more and more. You're building certain storylines and kind of de-emphasizing
one of my favorite. Survivor Series has never really let me down until they started taking the Survivor Series match out of Survivor Series. That's the only time I didn't really want to watch Survivor Series. But
I remember the fallout of Survivor Series 97 and Survivor Series 97 was...
Brett Screw Brett.
Yeah. The Survivor Series 1997 was the first one I kind of remember the fallout of, and that was the Montreal Screwjob. And in case you don't know about the Montreal Screwjob, please go and watch. There's so much information on the internet about this.
What?
It's the biggest...
I'm going to recommend the best.
Yeah?
Wrestling with Shadows. Let's give Bret Hart a chance.
Yeah.
And you should watch Wrestling with Shadows.
Yeah.
Where he documents everything in that last year.
Yeah.
The Screwjob, live and direct. So you can't really get anybody else's perspective on it. You're going to see what actually happened.
Yeah, basically, Brett had the championship, didn't want to lose to Shawn Michaels, was leaving, and they had the ref call for the bell while Shawn had Brett in his own submission move, the sharpshooter. Everybody says that Vince is the mastermind behind it, and afterwards, Brett gets up, vehemently pissed and spits on Vince McMahon's face, and it basically started the heel Vince McMahon character, because before that people didn't really know Vince's involvement like that.
I want y'all to know something.
Yeah.
If that night didn't happen, NXT wouldn't exist today.
That's like several steps far. I know that like Stone Cold Steve Austin wouldn't have happened.
It wasn't Vince's idea.
Yeah?
It was Triple H's idea from the rip. He said, fuck him. If he don't want to do business, we'll do business for him. Boom. And that's how Triple H became a McMahon.
He's like, isn't your name Terror Rising? My earliest memory of watching a Survivor Series was the next year in 1998. I went over with my dad. I can't remember if we went to my uncle's house or like my uncle's brother-in-law or some shit over like in Albany, and we went over into some basement, and there's just like mad dudes smoking cigarettes and chicken wings and whiskey and
real wrestling fans.
Chicken wings.
Yeah, no, I've never seen so
don't
many
mention
chicken
no
wings.
chicken on air.
That's a good point.
We might not make it. Told y'all it wasn't that bad, yo. All right, it was some angry people who just was being angry.
I don't know.
Because it was wrestling in the South. I'm telling you, man.
I'm about to say, I've seen a person or two get angry over some chicken in my day.
I'm just saying.
Anyway, a basement full of middle-aged, drunk Irish white dudes eating chicken wings. and a bunch of kids sprawled out on the ground, just like drinking Coca-Cola until midnight and shit, watching one of those like old tube TVs in the wooden box with it was fun. And we watched 1998 Survivor Series, and The Rock beat Mankind in the main event for the championship.
It was a deadly game.
Yeah, it was a cool series because they did the whole tournament building up to see who was going to win.
First tournament
the
on
chip.
pay-per-view since
King of the
WrestleMania 4 for the belt.
Oh, okay. That was one of the first times I remember being hooked on watching wrestling like that.
I want to retract part of my statement. I said that I didn't like any Survivor Series that didn't have Survivor Series matches.
That was great.
That one didn't have any Survivor Series matches, but it was an elimination tournament, so it still was a Survivor Series feel.
I wasn't getting pay-per-views. The first pay-per-view I felt like I got was November to Remember.
ECW!
Whatever that first ECW John was. Survivor Series 2000, whichever one happened in 2000, I don't know numbers. The first one I remember actually getting as a kid. It had a lot of my favorites on it. You had Val Venus.
Was this before or after Val Venus almost got his penis cut off?
The Choppy, I don't know. I don't know.
Educate yourselves, kids.
Yeah, I don't know. We had some matches. Really, it's all about the 4-on-4 Survivor Series match. The Radicals, a.k.a. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn, with Terry, defeating Billy Gunn, Chyna, Road Dogg, and K-Quick.
Why K-Quick? I don't know.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember why K-Quick was involved either.
Do you know who K-Quick is?
Yeah. K-Quick? Yeah.
R-Truth, right?
I was about to say, K-Quick has the hardcore belt right now, maybe, or what do they call it, 24/7?
24/7.
I probably still has that. Yeah, again, K-Quick, I don't remember him being in the Generation X, but it kind of makes some sense to me.
Shout out to R-Truth, man.
R-Truth was the last black NWA champion. Just a little Black History knowledge for you.
There we go. The more you know.
We'll have to bring that up again in Black History Month.
Yeah, February.
This February, watch out.
Every day. We don't need them all.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn right.
Ain't it the truth? Kane defeated Chris Jericho. William Regal defeated Hardcore Holly by disqualification for the European Championship.
What happened to the main H?
The main event was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Triple H in a no DQ match.
How did that end? How'd that end?
Well, the match ended with Triple H
First of all, it ended in a DQ.
Yeah.
Or no, it ended in what did it?
No contest because because what happened was the Eliminators came out and beat Stone Cold up.
The Radicals.
No, the Eliminators. The Radicals came out. I'm sorry, jeez Louise, and beat Stone Cold up. The Radicals came out, beat Stone Cold up. Triple H ran away and got in a car. Stone Cold came out with a forklift, picked Triple H's car up, and flipped it over, lifted it up very high and flipped it over on its top, effectively killing Triple H live on air. As the credits rolled and Stone Cold, cursed a bunch and walked away, not giving a fuck, looking like a badass. The show ended with Triple H basically dying, as far as anybody knew.
I miss when wrestling would straight up murder a dude in a car.
And just leave you on the cliffhanger he may or may not be dead. I don't know, check the obituaries or Raw tomorrow night.
This is the kind of shit that I can get behind. Why is this left storylines? Obviously Triple H was not in that car when they flipped it over 30 feet in the air. But I love the storyline that Stone Cold just almost murdered a dude.
Yeah, but that's what Stone Cold was. He was getting them back because if you remember Survivor Series before, Steve Austin got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Who was hired?
Triple H.
It was Triple H, right?
Yeah. He hired Rikishi to do
yes.
it.
Right.
The entire that was a terrible storyline, by the way.
What are you talking about? Look, it inspired a 6 months of Roman Reigns booking,
all
right?
They did was
it was a terrible story.
All they did was flip that car situation the next year. Literally.
Also, Chris Benoit was in on that angle because we got to mention Chris Benoit every podcast.
Apparently, this seems to be a
Chris
theme
Benoit
that Chris Benoit
was in the Radicals and was beating up Stone Cold before
at the main event. Yeah.
Y'all advocate that we get Chris Benoit back into wrestling, yo.
What's up?
I think we should be able to talk about Chris Benoit.
One
and
of
not
my-
feel bad about it. Like,
One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Yeah.
he didn't kill his family. He was set up.
It was Kevin Sullivan.
Still, it was Kevin Sullivan.
We're gonna find you, Kevin Sullivan. We're gonna bring you to justice. I think he's joined the Dark Order at this point.
He should.
If he wasn't already in it. Do you think they've shied away from such storylines because of Chris Benoit? They're like, oh, we can't just show a dude like icing a dude.
Nah, I don't think.
I think Vince will do whatever, but
Vince will do it, but I missed that.
he needs to do this for ratings.
Yeah.
Reinstate Chris Benoit's rights.
Yeah.
You know, and give David Benoit day. They're not going. They're not. Which one of his kids?
AEW, Dave. Yeah, AEW is gonna hire Dave Benoit.
That's great, yo.
I mean, it's not official.
It's not like he did
but I
anything
guarantee
wrong.
you.
He looks just like
He's a
his
kid.
It's not like he
dad,
did anything
dog.
wrong. Yeah.
He's going to be like crucified via the internet. Like he got to just be able to like.
Yeah, man, take it back. Take the name back.
Yeah, for real.
Fuck that. Keep the name. It's your daddy's name.
No, what I
I'm
mean is
just saying,
take
take
the
the-
name
just-
back.
just in
Like,
general,
bring it
just-
back
he
to
should.
you.
He should.
You know what I'm
He
saying? All right, so predictions for this year's Survivor Series. Let's run through. Now, there are still some things that are to be determined, as we said, but let's run through and let's see what we got. So, first match on the docket. Let's talk big boy shit. Brock Lesnar versus Rey Mysterio for
I'm
the
gonna
WWE
go on a
Championship.
limb and say Brock Lesnar is going to win this match.
I too will say Brock Lesnar wins the match because I think it's going to be really good. It's a no holds barred. So I think they're booking it to be another classic Brock Lesnar versus smaller dude at Survivor Series. They've done it the past 3 years.
Good for business.
I think Brock's going to win.
Does Ray finally turn heel after 30 years?
I don't know if heel Rey Mysterio makes any sense.
No one likes Brock Lesnar, so he can't turn heel if he goes evil on Brock.
Bring out his bad side.
If he straight up murders Brock Lesnar, as we were talking about, he would get over.
Or bring the forklift angle back.
Pay some Eddie Guerrero homage that night. You know what I mean? Eddie Guerrero got to win on Brock in a
Lie, you
no-holds
cheat,
bar
you
match.
steal.
I want to. You know. I want to take my prediction back. I'm going to go with Ray on this one. With Vince giving the fans what they want for a night, so he can get another title reign on Raw the next night.
Yeah, again, if Ray is ever going to beat Brock, a no holds barred match would be the forum. With that said, Brock Lesnar, I would assume. Oh man, they're trying to keep Ray in contract.
it.
Yeah, no, Brock's gonna win. Brock's gonna win. They don't really
Listen.
just
if Ray
getting this
gets the
match
belt
is enough
overnight,
to get Ray around.
So I'm going with Brock. You guys both got Ray?
I'm taking.
I'm taking Brock too.
Okay, got you. So next one, we're going to talk about the triple threat women's match. Becky Lynch with the Raw belt, Bayley with the SmackDown, and Shayna Baszler with the NXT. Where are we going? This one's a tough one.
This is a bit of a toughie.
I want some type of no contest.
You're not going to get it.
You're not.
They're
All
going
right.
Becky Lynch.
I'm going Becky Lynch.
They're going to put Becky Lynch over in this one. Although,
I see Bayley winning that joint though.
I'm
The
personally
new Bayley.
I'm taking Shayna. I'm taking Shayna. I think it's long overdue for Shayna to get some burn. It'll probably be the last match she wins against any women's champion
Ever
for
again.
the rest of her career in WWE.
I want to change my answer, actually, because Rodney brings up a good point.
I think Bayley's going to win.
I think, I'm going to go with Bayley, actually, because I think Shayna and Becky will take each other out, and Bayley can get the sneaky win. I'm gonna go with Bayley. You sticking with Becky, Rodney?
I'm going with Bayley.
You going with Bayley too?
Bayley.
So 2 Baileys, 1 Shayna, no Becky. God damn.
Wow.
Nah, fuck it. I'm going back to Becky.
Okay, all right. There we go.
On the record for Becky, so we have 1 for each of us. I don't want to have to fucking share the failure or victory. And the next one, we got the tag team cross-promotional match. We got Viking Raiders representing Raw, New Day representing SmackDown, and Undisputed Era NXT.
The New Day will be winning this.
Interesting. I personally think that the Viking Raiders will win this match. I'm surely not rooting for them. I'm rooting for anybody but not that I dislike them, but I like the other team significantly more.
I will say
Undisputed.
Yeah, I want to say Undisputed Era, but I don't think there's any way they're going to win. I'm going to go with the New Day also. I like the Undisputed Era because they're the crafty heels in this situation, but I don't think Vince or whomever is in charge of this shit is gonna allow that to happen. I'm going to say New Day. Also, just to tell you guys, my conspiracy theory on Survivor Series this year is going to be SmackDown is going to win the majority of the matches. Last year, Raw swept, with the exception of the New Day winning on the kickoff show.
SmackDown stinks right now.
Yeah, I think because it stinks, they want them to win to get people to watch it, maybe.
Okay.
That's my theory.
I hear you.
Next match, we got the Ladies Survivor Series match. We got Team Raw with Charlotte Flair, Natalya, Asuka, Kairi Sane, Sarah Logan versus Team SmackDown, Sasha Banks, Carmella, Dana Brooke, Lacey Evans, Nikki Cross versus Team NXT. Who we got? Team Raw.
SmackDown. Sasha Banks called it.
Team Raw is just stronger, like, talent-wise, so I'm going to go with them.
I wish I knew who was on Team NXT because
they're going to be gassed from War Games.
That's the thing, is they could put together a great team of women, but who knows who's actually going to... So I'm going to have to go with Raw as well. It's just the more talented team. But again, it makes sense to have SmackDown win to put over some...
I think they'll win the men's Survivor Series match. We've got Team Raw with Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Ricochet. SmackDown, you got Roman Reigns, Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and Shorty G. And Team NXT to be announced. Raw is the strongest team here yet again, but I think that Team SmackDown wins on some give Roman Reigns some shit.
I got NXT winning because of the quietness of what the roster is going to be. Like, I'm hoping that TakeOver gets invaded by Raw and SmackDown, which will give NXT the leg up or whatever. But I'm just hyped to see how these eliminations happen in the match. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to rock with NXT.
So I find it interesting that Cold Keith thinks that, or rather, SmackDown will win in the men's, and not the women's. Because I think their women's team is better than their men's team.
I agree,
Reigns,
but
Mustafa Ali, Braun Strowman, King Corbin, and
But King Corbin and Roman Reigns get pushed to the fucking heavens, as does Braun Strowman, and Mustafa Ali is really good. Shorty G is amazing, but his name is stupid.
Right. So long story short, I'm going to have to take Team Raw on this one. It's just look at the team on paper. It's stacked.
We got the sixth match here. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus Roderick Strong for the mid-card champs.
AJ Styles pins everybody.
Yeah. Go. AJ Styles. Ooh. Yeah, AJ Styles.
It seems like a pretty foregone conclusion that AJ Styles is going to win. I really want to vote for Shinsuke, even though I think he has just about no chance. And I'm going to vote for Shinsuke, even though it's fairly obvious AJ is going to win, because of my heart.
All right, The Fiend. Actually, we didn't even fucking talk about this matchup. The Fiend, Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan. The best thing on SmackDown the past couple of weeks, bar none. No matter what happens tomorrow night with the fucking build to the championship, I'm all about The Fiend versus Daniel Bryan. They did such a better job building this in one promo than they did the entire Seth Rollins, The Fiend storyline. Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt have some history. If you know, Daniel Bryan broke up the Wyatt family from the inside, did some bullshit, and they sort of allude to that. But they don't even need that. They're both just like unhinged weirdos. And that promo, go back and watch the promo. It was amazing. I'm very excited for this match. I think The Fiend retains.
I don't know what they're doing with The Fiend right now. I don't know how they really want to protect him. Daniel Bryan brings out the best of everybody, so maybe this is them saving what they screwed up with Hell in a Cell and trying to tell a story or a long-term story. I don't think Seth Rollins was ever the answer for The Fiend.
No.
I
think these two can work together.
Yes. No,
and I think The Fiend wins. I don't know. Do either of you think Bryan's going to win?
He got friends.
I'm thinking Daniel Bryan's going to do the job because it's what he's good at. Like, that sounds like a fucking insult, but I mean, like, Daniel Bryan is a selfless performer.
Consummate professional.
And I think he's going to put The Fiend over in a way that Seth Rollins couldn't.
I'm assuming that's the way that why they booked this way, why this match is happening. I still personally think The Fiend is a very difficult person to book for. You know, a lot of things going around that The Fiend versus Roman is down the pike, or The Fiend versus Undertaker. This should hopefully help get him over enough for those matches to have more gravitas. So it seems like Bray Wyatt needs to win.
Woo! And the final match that we don't have one dude in, Adam Cole versus whoever wins the triple threat match for the number one contender at NXT War Games.
Like, who the fuck was in that match again?
Pete Dunne versus Damian Priestley versus Killian Dane.
Oh man, I don't like two of these guys. Spoiler.
No
alert.
matter who wins, Adam Cole is going to retain.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm honestly surprised this match is even happening on the pay-per-view.
It just makes the card too fucking long yet again.
Yeah, well, you know, whatever. At least
how long it's going to take to do two 15-person elimination matches?
I mean, it might not take that, but again, at least this match isn't going to be full of shitty matches, hopefully. At least there's, like, people that I guess I can only speak for myself that I at least personally care about going to be on this card.
It's going to be a good show talent-wise, but I don't know how they're going to book it.
Yeah, so I think Adam Cole, I think we probably would all agree. Not
what do you think, Rod?
No, Adam Cole's definitely going to
win this match regardless.
And with Rod's phone going off, we got to sign off for this week.
Oh, wait a second.
Wrestler of the week?
Do we have a wrestler of the week? Do people have wrestlers of the week?
I'm brawling in Japan like Stan Hansen. Clothes on your ass, put the boys in the back, then I take it to the stand, son. New Jack, no man's transit. You fucked, homie. So you wanna be the wrestler of the week? Yeah, you wanna be the wrestler, but your spots is shit.
I'm actually even know if I have a wrestler.
Who's got a wrestler?
I have a nomination. I would like to shout out Rhea Ripley this week.
Rhea Ripley.
Holding it down for Team NXT when they invaded. Got to fight Sasha Banks. I only went to SmackDown to see Sasha Banks and put on a good match. You know, I can see you coming up soon because NXT jumped you on NXT. So they probably don't want you on the show no more. You playing for Raw soon, I can see, next to Becky Lynch. But I like Rhea Ripley this week.
Maybe Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has been on, 3 straight programs now?
Does that make her your wrestler of the week?
I think it might. She's been on 3 straight programs. She cut a pretty good promo on NXT.
King Corbin should be the wrestler of the week.
I just don't even know. I feel like WWE, there's been so much stuff going on, and this is... I don't know. I could go that way. I guess I could say Dark Order for actually explaining who the fuck they are to people for once. These guys with these weird gimp sex putties in their. I don't know.
The Dark Order.
Sure. Yeah, the Dark Order.
I also am going to go off the board for 100 and say my wrestler of the week is AEW's Jon Moxley.
Oh, you could make an argument for Darby Allin too, yeah.
You could make an argument for Darby Allin, but I'm going to see, since we haven't done a show in a minute, I'm going to take this week and compound it with the past couple weeks and say between winning the highly controversial, if you will say, unsanctioned match against Kenny Omega, beating the shit out of Michael Nakazawa, cutting a crazy good promo about how basically if you're going to step in the ring with Moxley, you better call your family first and tell them you're never coming home. Things like that. And then that amazing match with Darby Allin this week. Really good main event. Highly recommend watching it. Does a second rope paradigm shift, which again is a dumb name for the Death Rider. Jon Moxley on a winning streak. I don't see anybody beating him. They're putting him over as a really powerful force in AEW. I'm saying Jon Moxley is my wrestler of the week. All right. Thank you for listening yet again. And I want to say to everybody listening out there, happy holidays. We're starting off with Thanksgiving. Have a very happy Thanksgiving. watch some football, drink a little bit of red wine, or don't, or go out back and smoke some weed while everybody else is hanging out and come back later and they'll be like, what smells funny? And say, shut the fuck up, Uncle whomever. Tell them, listen, I don't need that shit in my life.
Snapping, yo.
Don't.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. This is the People's Pipebomb podcast. Anybody got anything to plug?
I don't know, man. Don't let your friends root for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. If you got family members in your Thanksgiving house, root
ladies,
for the Cowboys.
don't let your sons grow up to root for the
yo.
Cowboys. Once again, if you need to reach out to us, you can email us at people'spipebombpod@gmail.com. And again, we got a Twitter and an Instagram. Please feel free to tag us, add us, DM us, all that shit at People's Pipebomb Pod. And, give us a listen and a follow on SoundCloud. Check our stuff out on YouTube. And we'll see you next week. Peace. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Peace. And we'll see.
I didn't know if you wanted us to jump in.
Hey, we'll see you whenever, you guys.
And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Mamba out.